to see who else was on there and make sure everybody hadn't got off. It's like,
And then all of a sudden I heard Paul call me.
Yeah, we started late anyway.
I kept pushing the buttons, logging out, logging back in.
I did too.
And I seen Sherry was there, so I knew it was part of it.
Well, you left once, didn't you?
I left about 3 times
Oh, you did?
trying to figure out if I needed to do something different.
I said, I saw where it said Warren left meeting. Warren left meeting. It's like, am I supposed to leave the meeting?
Yeah. Well, I decided, cause I was on the road and I decided something just wasn't happening.
Now, you know you're not supposed to do that when you're on the road, right?
I had my wife. I actually pulled over so I could try to figure it out. I was ready to get home, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Take in the meeting.
So did you get anything out of it?
So I guess you'll start the meeting tonight?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just no confusion.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I didn't know how I felt.
But no,
Yeah, but how are you?
Yeah.
there was a lot.
We had a car.
Yeah.
Do you agree? So.
No, nobody said anything.
He was on there
Sent to you.
Yeah.
I don't know who was coming and going because I was driving.
Yeah.
My wife was watching.
Hello.
Hi,
I'm Jordan. Nice to meet you.
Get these. I decided.
We're never gonna go back to school.
There's a lot of good information.
You went to which meeting?
You want?
You went to which meeting?
In the conference. During the-
Oh.
I don't know, it's a 4-year term, I don't know if it's up there.
Michelle said we've been separated every year. She was gonna look into that.
Oh, I thought it was a 4-year term.
I think it is.
Yes, that question is I mean, I know when Denise was, she was when we came in 2 years ago. She's been there for 2 years. This is her starting her 3rd year there. You have any idea on that, Michelle? When Don offers over before?
It says year 1 in 2022.
So she's got 2 more years.
So we did both at the same time.
Well, she may have been finishing somebody's term.
No, she's been there for.
Yeah, it's her name's back here.
Yeah.
She's been there for a while.
Yeah.
She's been there.
I don't
for
care, just
15 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do they have meetings regularly?
Mm-hmm.
Does she go?
and they Zoom their meetings too. You know, we can get on there and watch them if we want to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna let me connect to YouTube, but that's fine.
What, you don't like that, Jim?
No, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't bother me a bit. I have no balls on the court.
$60,000 deputy.
I mean, he's gonna be here tonight, you know.
I've been in there for, well, $60,000 higher than deputies. Right at Orange County.
That's Monday.
I mean,
I wonder what it means.
well, 60 and some change will be the starting salaries. So,
Oh, I thought you meant we'd be there out that much.
that's what a starting deputy's salary will be.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is I thought the county we were gonna be that much short on our budget already.
No.
Okay.
I don't know where they're trying to. We're supposed to pull that money out of it.
I'm gonna say,
Where they getting it from?
We general fund,
Until I
How's
started.
that set?
I mean,
Huh?
there's more, we ended the year with more money than we started with, but yeah, with
Where
not,
was that money appropriated somewhere?
No, we didn't appropriate.
But then the bridge came out of that.
Metal Bridge came out of edit.
You're saying the raises are gonna come out of general?
That's where the rest of the salaries come from.
How much did we in the year with last year compared to the year before? Do you have any idea?
No, but I can find out here from the start.
Hey, Josh. So there's 10, that $5,000 will affect?
Yeah, it'll be 50,000.
Okay,
10 positions.
all right. How many jailers do you have?
6.
So to cover one shift a day for a week, is that? That's giving them all 40 hours without me putting a pencil to it.
Yeah, it takes 4 people plus 8 hours to cover 24/7.
In
How
the
many
jail
more do you
alone.
need?
Right,
How many more do you need?
Yeah, that's just the deal, that's not dispatch.
Yeah.
The professional says we're supposed to have 19 in there, but I don't think we need near.
You ain't gonna find 19 in Bucks County, I'm sorry. I mean, I wish we could, but realistically we can't.
They'd be falling over each other, I think, with that many.
now
4,
we have
3, 4.
4 would be excellent. One of our big issues why we lose people is because if one person takes a day off or is sick, everybody's world explodes. You go from day shift to the night shift, or the night shift is sick or can't make it into the weather, whatever the issue is.
In your budget, do you have money for any of those 4?
We have some part-time money that we do have one part-time employee. A lot of times we like to bring them in as part-time to test driving.
Can you find more to test drive?
Yeah.
Will that help keep people from Vigo County in our doorstep?
With the applicants, it's always different.
I understand.
I know we have a few applicants right now that are willing to do full-time, they won't touch part-time. Have we started any?
No.
No, that's why I'm talking like this.
If you please stand, we'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business, we're gonna do the reorganization. So we need a motion for president.
I make a motion for Warren.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Oh.
Huh?
Any opposed?
Oh, I thought she said 4, sorry.
Any opposed? Okay, motion for Warren for president.
You'll switch, you want to sit there for 9 times. Okay.
Minutes.
Well, we do vice chair.
Yeah. Motion for advice.
I'll make a motion for Monty.
I'm second.
All in favor?
All right.
Unanimous. That's all. Okay?
Mhm.
That's it.
Well, there you go.
December the 2nd minutes.
Make a motion to approve December 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes.
3 of you don't get a vote in it.
I make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Jeremy said that he would like to go first if he could, because he's on call.
Jeremy.
Hello, she's got some, handouts for you. Quarterly, the last quarter and last year report.
See you over here.
There you go.
Not on here?
No, I didn't know he was coming until
Okay.
today, now.
Alright, so we'll add that in.
Run down this real quick. So 2024 total runs was 1,424 runs. It's actually 400 runs more than 2023. We brought in $436,789.77 for 2024, during 2024. Then the breakdown by October, November, December, you can see that there. Dash Memorial still is the biggest hospital we get at where we take most of our patients. So that brings pretty much the same. I did put a line in there for the chase vehicle, how many runs it goes on. So for October, it went on 12 runs, showed up to 12 runs. In November, it was 19. In December, it was 18. And just to give you some idea, when that brings the paramedic on scene, that run is billed out at $200 more than if it was a state basic run. If they would have needed to call a paramedic, that would have cost the county $500. So it's a $700 swing basically.
Are you the only one who has access to that chase vehicle?
Everybody does, but I'm the only paramedic that currently lives in the county. So,
Question is, are you running your first out without a paramedic?
there are some times that has to go without a paramedic, yes.
And the backup same way?
Yes. But then I'm in the chase, so can respond to either one.
And are these total runs, are they considered the total, or is this just ambulance type runs? You know what I'm saying? Is this transports and everything?
It's everything we do.
So how many transports did we do this year compared to last year?
I don't know, but we run about 80 to 90% of our runs are transports. So I mean, I guess you could take the 1424, 60% would be transferred of, if you're counting in the standbys and stuff. So take 60% of whatever the 1424 is, that's about what we need to transport roughly.
And where are you at on your transfers, your hospital transfers?
We're getting back into them. I use kind of restructuring the way they're doing that, but we're not as busy right now, but they're still going. And that's just kind of.
Are you pulling from Washington and Jasper both?
We've done some for them, but we mainly do IU. IU Health is mainly what we do. We've done some for the DCH and a couple for DuBois County. DuBois County doesn't farm that out a lot because they've got 7 trucks, so they've got the ability to handle that.
And Davies County has ample, or
they've got 5. They usually we get one of them occasionally.
okay. How many nursing home transfers do you get?
Just local, and that's anywhere. I mean, it can be. Good question. I wouldn't say that they're on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Right.
What about transfers from the hospital to the county, to a resident of the county? How many of those do you get?
We don't usually.
You don't get
Like if
any?
it comes from out of Jasper, then Jasper usually brings them down.
Okay. Okay.
Is that standard procedure for all the hospitals?
Pretty much.
I
Yeah.
thought that's the way it
So
was.
for us to get transfer business, basically, is their crews are too busy to do it, so then they'll farm it out. That's how it usually works.
So we're probably looking at probably less than 40% transfer
Yeah.
from the hospital.
And we'd like to get in to start looking at scheduled transfers like dialysis patients and stuff like that. That's not something we've tiptoed into yet. But it is something we're looking at. We have been doing more for hospice. It's kind of interesting, but taking some patients, local patients like down to Evansville, or the hospice center up in Bloomington. We've done a few, getting into more of those as well when they need us. They found they can call us.
How How many dialysis patients have you transferred?
We haven't for dialysis yet. I don't know.
Not yet, not got into it yet.
Not yet. Nope. The first small box down at the bottom, the total receivables for 2022, we still got $61,579 out. That if everyone paid all their bills, we would see that. Don't expect you to recoup that. And then 2023, 2024, so all 3 years combined is $470,000. Obviously, 2024, we're going to collect a lot of that yet, as we just ended that year, as it goes cycle through. But I've got a plan now that I have a administrative assistant. We're going to try to make some phone calls and see if we can persuade people to get on a payment plan, and hopefully get some of that before we have to send it to collections. I will let you know how that goes and if we're able to convince anyone to pay the bills.
Are you, so your assistant's gonna call past due
Yes.
billing?
Can you take credit card payment?
We personally cannot, no.
That's all I was wondering if they could,
I mean, I think the treasurer can for a fee.
Yeah, we can too. It's, I think a 3% fee.
I don't know if that GovPay might set him up.
I think so. I referred GovPay to the health department because they were interested. I don't know if that,
That doesn't cost us anything.
no.
Okay. If I have people start asking about it, we'll look at maybe approaching that.
Are you gonna say the same billing company, you think?
For this moment, I think so. I mean, I'm always open for other ideas, but
are you pleased with that billing company or?
I'm not gonna speak to it better than that. On my side, it seems to work okay. I don't like that we're not in network with Anthem, but I don't know that that's their fault.
You're considering probably 65%, 70% of this county is Anthem, so.
Right. My understanding is Anthem's not taking anybody new right now. There's a freeze on it, is my understanding. So I can't blame that on the billing company. There's certain things that I'm not crazy about them, but I think they do well in other avenues.
So let me ask you, are they not taking us on as a county because we're new clients, or are they not taking on our billing company?
They're not taking on the clients.
But our billing company bills Anthem.
They bill Anthem, yes.
Okay.
But then Anthem will send the check to the individual, the patient. And then they need to pay us with that check. Which, yeah, that's.
Don't sound good.
That's the
Is
trick.
there any way you can find out if that person has been paid by Anthem?
Yes, and they're supposed to be cross-checking that and contacting them and saying, hey, let's. And we get some patients that, they get excited about, getting us chart check right away, and then I'm sure there's some of them out there that are just sitting on that.
Had a good Christmas.
Yeah. My place to spend this.
Is there a place, Jeremy, on your, like on your paperwork? I know you can't get paperwork signed for everybody that you're transporting, but for the ones you can get signed, is there like a slot where they can fill in and say, even if they're out of network, they agree for the check to come directly to whoever?
The billing company will decide where they're going to send the check.
No, I mean, but can they
The run
assign that
report won't
check?
show that, no.
Huh?
The run report won't show that, or what they sign.
Now, did you say they sign that or they assign that check? There's
Well,
two
kind
different
of
terms
both.
there.
They kind of both. They have to sign for it and they can assign it
Okay, 'cause
to come to the billing company or
because
whoever.
one way you said it and then you said it a different way. That's why I asked
Yeah.
for clarification.
Both. They have to sign their name to it, but they can also say, I agree that.
'Cause we
even
can
if
have a
it's out of
line-
network, that
We can
I-
have a line on our billing that says that they assign that check to us.
I don't know that they can. I know we could do it where I used to work, but it's
Just
been
curious.
several years, so. That didn't guarantee we always got it, but we did get it the majority of the time.
So you're still more than 55 to 60% collectible. I mean, that's about average anyway, I mean, on everything.
Right. You're always hoping for all of it, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
tough.
I have the same problem, so. How you feel?
Any questions for me? No?
The credit card, part of what I was thinking, if you could get people that would set up for, you know,
Yeah, if you have a way
$100 a
to-
month hitting their credit card.
Like a repeated,
Yeah,
I got you. Okay.
I don't know if that can be done. I know some people's willing to chew a little bit, but a lot of them don't like turning loose of the money, but they'll put it on their credit card. and
well,
pay
even
the credit card.
$25 a month, better than nothing at all.
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't know too, like, I know at like the dentist and a couple of places, you might know, is like that care credit card. Can you guys take that even? You can get, depending on what your income is, you can get several $1,000s, maybe you get 3,000 or 5,000 on an interest-free card to pay a medical bill with. And then as long as you pay it off in 12 months, you don't pay any interest on it. And
I know Aspen Dental does that. They give you 18 months to pay it off now.
yeah, so I don't know if that would work for ambulance or not, but that might be something worth looking into.
Mhm.
well, everything that's available will go through the county, right? I mean, even if you call, it still has to go through the county, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so you can use the Gov.
No, I'm saying they give you a credit card though, like, so they would pay us our whole $3,000
I
they
understand
owe
what you're
us,
saying,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's a good card to have afterwards, as long as you pay it off in the 12 months.
Get it.
Anything else for Jeremy?
Trucks,
Good. We had to order a new set of on-spot chains. We wore, one set out, but other than that, yeah, they're all up and running and doing well.
Just the chains themselves?
Yeah. Like 4 bolts, put it back up in there.
Yeah.
We'll be in a week, so.
have you had any issues getting on it?
I haven't,
Except last month.
I was stuck in traffic for last night for a while, but Luke was nice. Shoals Fire, we had one, I don't remember what road it was on. It was one down on our dead end roads, and we brought him out in a fire truck.
Good Branch Road, yeah.
Yeah, brought him to where the ambulance could get, so we didn't get out and turn around. That was really nice. But for the most part, we're done. I didn't hang up or anything. We almost got hung up in the drive, but, county highway came over and cleared us out too, so it was good. No, we didn't have any problems this last snow, knock on wood. So,
Another one tomorrow.
I was gonna say, a new day tomorrow.
Yeah, one to
always
four.
another day.
This one's gonna be a lot fluffier though, they're saying.
Still,
Top the other,
All snow, no ice, no rain.
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jerry.
What about the redevelopment? Here, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, there's nothing in there, just on the agenda. At the redevelopment meeting, the last meeting, that they had last month, the redevelopment commission approved for $10,000 to be, given to the Lagodi, ballpark project.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know the official name of it, but they're trying to raise funds to upgrade the ballpark, to make
They
it
have a
handicap accessible.
$50,000 match, right?
Yeah.
50/50 match.
Yeah.
They put up 50,000 and the grant was for 50,000
Mhm.
and they give 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, now.
To
we'll
go
put-
for their match.
to go for their match, and also, during the meeting, there was some question about Shoals. And we set aside money for the future for Shoals to do the same.
I guess
They just gotta come to us and
need to come up with a plan and come.
plan, so we're trying to treat both communities fairly.
Okay, let me back up here. Both of those you're talking both are school ballparks.
No,
No,
Okay,
the Little League,
the Little League of Lagode's not.
it's on school property, but
it's on
they're,
school property.
they're their own entity.
Okay,
And
They're true.
what the $50,000 was for, so if you backtrack a few years, they Duke Energy came through and upgraded the power line through
Made 'em
there,
move
and they had to move
everything,
their fields, so they lost a couple fields on the south end of their property. They had to move them, and when they did, they lost all their pavement, solid surface that they had, which comes play the key with the ADA accessibility.
Mhm.
And when, Jordan Dent came to the redevelopment committee, they've been approached by a couple, leagues to host tournaments there. So our thought was that this $10,000, by giving it ADA accessibility where grandparents can come watch their grandkids play, will help increase the income tax revenue
Mhm.
in the city of Lagodi, and we'll get the money tenfold coming back to us in the future. So that's what it was for.
Does that Little League, have a board over there?
They do,
Okay,
they do. They have, I think it's a 5-person board.
okay.
But the redevelopment commission, we agreed to give it to them. We just need to appropriate the money
Okay.
out of that one fund to another.
Any other questions?
There's not a vote on that at all?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I need a vote on the additional appropriation.
I'll make the motion to move the money out of the TIF capital project, fund 4,500 to, community improvements to, Lagodi Little League. Can't remember exactly what they're called. I know you know that, don't you, Michelle?
Yeah.
We have a second.
I'll second
Harold, all in favor? Unanimous. Sure.
Over your new, I haven't talked to you guys since we got the new trucks, but I'm sure you've seen them running around now.
You just can't get past the black and white.
Black and white.
They're black and white trucks?
Yeah.
They were all black. We got a huge discount on them. And then we had our decals put in the, what they call a wrap, new stuff they're gonna be. We wrapped the doors white, so they look like 1950s.
Yeah, I was waiting for the bubble on top. You know?
We don't drill holes in the top of them anymore.
I just think Barney Fife when you see it.
Yeah.
They really stand out.
I haven't seen it,
I mean,
but I haven't been out much.
if one pulls out at the dollar store of the school and you're here at Momax, you see it. I mean, there's nobody else that got a truck like it running around. They're not gonna.
I've actually only seen one of them.
Yeah,
So who has them?
Currently, Deputy Hopkins and Gibson have one, and Reed will be going into one. K9 Yerk is gonna be retiring here very soon. And then he'll go into one of those trucks.
Okay, now that you mentioned that, are you intending on redoing the K9 program, or now you have none?
It takes a huge commitment from a deputy, and I have to have a deputy willing to do it. It's literally like having a kid. So if I have one willing, we're definitely gonna explore it. We still have a little bit of money in our fund, but not near enough to fund.
Would you be able to put on another program like we did before to get raise the funds?
We could do a fundraiser program, but I'm not gonna ask the community for money if I don't have a deputy that's dedicated and willing.
Well, maybe the next step, you hire that incentive. You know, I don't think the county should be without a K9 unit. I truly.
We don't have one in Lagodi either, I guess.
Yeah, the chief's got one.
I'm sorry?
Chief has one.
No, he doesn't.
Oh.
No, it's not a,
That's not a police dog.
and that now you're lacking, we will not have a K9 in the county.
Not one assigned to the county.
That's not good.
Yeah, the people willing to do it. Goes back to, you gotta be able to keep people here to start with.
Do they get a stipend to have a dog?
So they get paid a half hour a day. It used to be a half hour minimum wage a day. And now it's a half hour of their paid wage a day, which we used to pay it out of commissary and it was very little amount of money. But now with salaries and half hour a day, that's a lot of money throughout a year, especially when we had two of them. So if we do keep that direction, we'd have to look at a funding mechanism to pay the salary. I don't know off the top of my head what it is.
So without a K-9 in the county, who do you have to call for a K-9?
The surrounding counties or state.
And there's only like, in this area, there's only like 3 state K-9s, I think.
I don't know if there's even 3 of them around here. And it depends on what you need the K-9 for. Conservation has the best tracking dogs around.
Yeah.
So you don't hardly use a regular police K-9 for tracking to the COs or usually so much more superior. That's their main focus in some cases.
Being where I'm at, I do have concerns about not having a K-9. Especially if you have an officer working late at night by himself. And I know a lot of your officers work late at night by themselves.
I used to be one of them,
Yeah.
and sometimes still am.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just,
But we're gonna have an officer working late at night by himself without a K-9. Even if we have a K-9. But not everybody's gonna have a K-9. There's multiple guys working night shift throughout the year.
That's close to 4,000 for that's the $60,000 price, so.
$4,000.
Yeah, 60,000, so the 50,000.
So you give them that to take care of the dog, and then they get about food and.
Yeah, we pay food and vet bills. We pay for everything for them. Yeah.
On top of that.
Yeah. I mean, the officers, or deputies, I know they're buying shampoo and dog treats and toys and beds and stuff out of their own money, and we would pay for them, but they don't try to nickel and dime the K-9 fund with little stuff.
So they get a half hour a day, working day, or 7 days a week?
7 days a week. That's to allow, they gotta let them out to use the bathroom.
Yeah, okay.
Give them bath.
I figured that, but wasn't sure.
I done mine.
Overtime on that.
I done my math on 5 days a week.
I'm sorry.
Yep, you have to look at overtime too,
Mhm.
whether or not they can improve it.
So there's ways around not paying it.
Well, if they're already paying, then they're getting taxes taken out of it.
yeah, if it's on a separate fund, why, I mean, what?
I mean, they're doing a favor, the way I feel about it, take care of the dog. If they're making $10 an hour, they're only going to be getting about $6.50 out of it, on taxes get taken out of it.
I mean,
That's my point.
they get their full hourly rate. They're just
Yeah.
getting a half hour a day.
But yeah, no, I mean, they're getting taxes taken out of that half hour like they earned it as a day's compensation. To me, it ought to be some type of a bonus or a stipend.
Yeah, it's
where
not owned.
where it's not taxed.
Not
We
earned
still have the
income.
tax
It
stipend.
still gets there
Everything can be taxed.
some way.
I don't think we can pay out.
Well, you
any
don't
of that
tax the commissary fund, do you? I mean,
whenever we pay bonuses.
no, when you were paying for the dog.
So they're responsible to pay their own taxes
Okay.
at that point.
Yeah, so they'd have to pay at the end of the year.
Yeah, if you have a yard sale, you're supposed to pay taxes.
Mhm.
But it's up to the individual to report themselves.
I don't think any of us are trying to figure out how to get out of paying it. We're just trying to,
But it's
Figure out.
very easy to get out of paying it. I just put a kennel from jail and say the dog stays here. If you wanna take it home, you're welcome to, but I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
And there is counties that do that, but that's not how a dog and a handler should be.
No.
but that
And
doesn't,
the handlers take it home and then you're making them do it for free.
that doesn't give you the best dog.
Mhm.
And then they gotta drive to the jail, spend gas to pick it up.
Then somebody else take care of it to jail
Yeah.
while there.
That's a strategy that some counties use to get out of paying their canine handlers.
I don't see why you wanna get out of paying them. No, I mean, they're doing the job, that dog is an officer, he should be paid also.
It's a real responsibility.
You feel the need one, we'll find a way to make it work.
When the county needs one,
You find somebody to step for him, we'll make it work.
it's the commitment, and it's not typically a 2-year commitment, because it costs a lot of money to go through the training, and you need to be in it for the long haul. I mean, that dog, maybe 10 years of service, depending on the dog. If the deputy stays that long, then that's a big commitment.
Do you currently have a dog? Just need to.
We have Yurka, which was our first dog back when Travis came on. And whenever we did our big fundraiser, she's definitely showing her age. And about time for her to retire.
Who has that dog?
Reed.
Tyler Reed has it.
Oh, he has it.
Originally Damon Baker had her.
Hmm.
And then Tyler Reed took her over, and he's had her since
That's when I moved to Crane, right?
he's 16. I think he took her over 2016 or 17. So he's had her for several years after Damon had her.
So he's getting a half-hour a day then?
Yes.
Okay.
How about your jail staff?
I don't think it's new to anybody. Some of you have been here a few years and seen the reports. The state or the specialists, professionals, they come in and did inspection. They claim they're supposed to be 19. That counts the matron and the cooks. Currently, I have 2 cooks, a matron, and 6, so I have 9. The 19, they say. I think 19 would be way overcrowded. We could definitely use a few more in the jail and a few more in dispatch to make things a lot safer and more productive. I don't want to go into great details about jail security and
No, that's understandable.
stuff. That was
So
a public meeting, but
in your budget of 2025, without pulling it all up, I'm sure you know off the top of your head, you have part-time employees, do you have any, so all your full-time positions are filled
currently, yes.
currently? And that fills your budget?
Yes. The 6 positions that we have for jail officers. Now, if you look in the budget, it looks like there's more jail officers, but I think 3 of those are dispatchers. So there's like 3 dispatchers in 911 and then 3 that look like jail officers kind of in the 380 budget.
So if you came to us, so if you put out there that you're gonna try to hire 1 or 2, and you came to us in February, I can't speak for everyone else, but I would vote to find appropriation to pay them.
And we have a couple right now who will take on full-time as a jail officer. They won't leave their jobs for part-time.
Will that help cure the problem that we have?
I mean, it definitely would make things more stable and with turnover, if you're fully staffed, you're still understaffed. So even, it seems like we've almost always got 1 out. We're trying to train somebody to fill a position. So that it lowers it down to where you're just barely getting by. It's like a roll.
I mean.
Should have brought water. It seems to be a cycle of a roller coaster. We go from 2 people to 6 people and then back to 2 people. Where you're just barely hanging on.
So how many dispatchers do you have?
6.
So you got 6 jail officers and 6 dispatchers.
Yeah.
And that's fully staffed, really considered, you're considered that fully staffed.
We're fully staffed with the positions that the commissioners have authorized.
Right,
And
right.
you get the things.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But as far as what would be the appropriate staffing, it wouldn't be.
Exactly.
So if you had You have 12 now, if you had 14, that would get you closer to where you need to be.
You're talking about adding one jailer and one dispatcher?
Right.
It's closer.
How many
Anything-
dispatchers and jailers do you have working overtime right now?
I have 0 working overtime right now. I cut them off at January 1st.
Okay.
The former council body that you guys had approved it for them to be overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've got all 6 positions filled, I've got 1 that's going through training still.
Mm-hmm.
But now all the positions are filled and we got 5 that are trained of the 6. I cut the overtime from them.
Now your dispatchers, can we take more out of 911 fund, or what was the extra fund we took out of at one time?
And
I don't think
there's
you're
3
gonna-
dispatchers coming out of 911.
Okay,
The financial advisor
Yeah, it's,
was saying it was going down.
it
I
is,
think
yeah.
it's going down a little bit every year.
great. I was hoping to add one there.
And that's where the last 2, I think, came from, was out of 911. And that's one reason why it's going down. Any amount of positions in an increase would help, and the team up there would greatly appreciate it. Whether it's 1 or 3 or. I have no idea what you guys' finances look like across the whole county.
I think you have a pretty good idea.
It's scary, but, you know, we gotta keep our general fund there. And so my thought process, and I'll just be point blank, you know, with the Vigo County inmates, if there's a way we can get, if we give you more help and you can get an additional 5, it also helps us pay those people. But we can't seesaw back and forth either, Josh. I mean, we gotta come to some type of gentleman's agreement that we're gonna keep enough to keep paying these people that you need. I mean, I understand you need them. I know it firsthand because my son's jail commander. So I'm at a little bit of advantage for most of these people here because I hear it every day. And it's a safety factor too, because I don't want my kid hurt. But it's a safety factor for everybody's kids. So.
And I guess I haven't talked to you guys. The commissioners, the last meeting in 24, the week of that meeting, we had 2 people trying to kill themselves in there, and we had an escape. So there's major issues, safety issues for the people that are living there and the employees that are working there.
You know, we just gotta find a place where we can say, okay, well, we got the money. But we gotta feel comfortable by saying that. So somewhere along the line, maybe we need to have an executive session with you and figure it all out, but we gotta come to some type of agreement and things gotta be put aside.
How many Vigo County do we have right now?
And
Did we just send some back recently?
it was last year.
Okay,
How many did we average last year? You know that? Michelle?
It was probably in the 30s, or 33.
It was over 400,000, right?
Yeah.
But I pushed to keep the place packed full.
And I understand that.
And right now we're going through maintenance, where we're doing plumbing, gotta repaint the place.
And Vigo County's had some things happen up there. They've got a new jail, they've got a new sheriff. You know, so there's some things there too that's gotta be worked out, but.
have they asked us to send more and we haven't done it because of the maintenance things?
No. No, and the jail commander was actually asking for some the other day, and they didn't have any send. But things go in cycles, with the criminal justice system and judges and criminals and.
Now, is there
Summertime.
other counties that would be interested? Cause I know at one time we said there'd be other counties if Vigo County didn't wanna do it. Is there other ones we can reach out to?
Yeah, there's other ones that can be reached out to. I know Monroe County's talking about doing some work to their jail and looking for some temporary holding, not a long-term solution. Vanderburgh County, I believe they ship people to Illinois, which is probably closer than we are, but they would be an option. But there's other jails being built too. Sullivan County just got a brand new jail right next door to Vigo. And they've started holding for them, I believe, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, we just, I mean, I know you can't.
But we can keep putting fillers out, but Bergen County built a huge new jail, Du Bois County's built a new jail.
That's a bad thing. If we decide we wanted to add these people on, and we don't have any more
But that's the bad part.
prisoners.
The bad part is you need these people, whether you have Allen County inmates or not.
And we realize
I
that.
understand that.
Whenever
We've got to have somewhere to pay for it.
I had an 18-year-old girl that was in her jail and she's not there anymore. But I sent an 18-year-old girl back there with 30 guys and say, you need to be making sure they're not doing stuff wrong. But that's what I've got to work with. Or I just let them run the place. But I mean, we try to put other safety measures in place, but that's the reality that my people are living with up there.
You have an 18-year-old girl in with guys?
I did
Not an inmate.
The jail.
The jail.
Oh. That's
How
not
many
good either.
DOC do you have?
I believe we have one,
One?
and he gets out on the 27th. But they refuse to pay for him. They got a bunch of loopholes.
Hmm.
I think they send us a check every year.
Yeah, we got about 6,900 in the last 3 years.
It's pennies for what we get out of them.
Okay.
What's his second page?
So on the deputy pay raise thing, Commissioner George, it came to my chief.
Okay, I see it now.
But
Yes, continue, yeah.
I think it was last month, and I briefly talked with them in their meeting in 24, and I gave this to them for their meeting last night. And I spoke with Paul George again today, and he said this is what he was thinking. As far as the pay raise, try to keep up, and I definitely don't discount that we've done huge raises for these deputies in the last couple of years. It's just unfortunate the whole industry is doing the same thing, and we just keep falling further behind with the industry.
Where are we at with our neighboring counties, do you know? Like at 60,000, we'll say 61,000 for around
15,000 behind, I think.
Probably, but
Yeah.
there should be information coming out here pretty soon. On our all the sheriffs put in on the same spreadsheet, and we can see what others make. We do that the first day of the year. So within a month or two, hopefully I have that information where they all landed. I mean, I could get last year's numbers.
I remember last year's and there were some we was way ahead of. I mean, there was some up north that was crazy though, but you don't know what the situation is up there. They may have
How many of
big
these,
cities where they don't need a lot of county officers.
how many of these positions are in Martin County? They live in Martin County.
All of them.
They all live in Martin County?
You know, I got one that lives in Orange County currently.
Well, I guess that was one.
Yeah, he lives like a mile, less than a mile.
Yeah.
And I got one that lives less than a mile in the Lawrence County. And then one that is in the process to be hired right now, lives in the Mitchell area.
Willing to live.
Probably in time. That one, he's not locked down. The other two, they're pretty much locked down. They got large plots of property and
The one in Orange County, I don't see.
No, he's not going anywhere.
We've got the 2023, I think, back book, that we have some information that might help you. It's really, things change a lot in a year.
what is that on?
That fact book, I've done it before for the dispatch and has wages, number of people, all that kind of stuff, but that's 23 information and a lot of raises can happen in 24, makes a big difference. They haven't even requested the
Not paid
24
for it,
information
and all
from
that
the
stuff.
Yeah, there's some counties that's got 50% raise instead of 23.
Just say it's there if it helps you at all.
I don't think
There's no doubt they need it. I mean, they're putting their life on the line, but
And it makes it harder when, and last year we had a deputy in Lawrence County shot. Last week we had one that our guys work with every week shot. He's fighting for his life right now. It makes it harder on recruiting people. It's definitely not getting any safer out there. And it could be any of our guys. Anybody. I mean, it could be any citizen too.
I'm feeling we need to have
And I
another 72-hour executive session.
And I completely understand this is like a cold call and some of you guys are brand new to the council or half of you. And I would be glad to do an executive session and bring commissioners in.
I think that's where we need to go personally.
So I'm not asking for this
So-
to be voted on tonight.
So are you okay if we vote to table it
Yeah,
until next month?
that's what I expect.
I'm not,
Okay.
I expect you to do your due diligence for the citizen.
I mean, we gotta figure out.
table
Where we're
it seems
coming
kind of bland to me. I think we need to schedule an executive session and then within 72 hours of business hours.
Well, you gotta work with the commissioners and you gotta work with no storm this weekend and possibly one or two next week.
It's only weather. I drove a
I'll give you a
two-wheel
ride
drive truck
when you ride
Monday
to
to
town.
work.
Yeah,
If we get executive
But
session
if the-
next week,
if the commissioner shut
And then
down.
the commissioners
courthouse, we don't
meet.
get ahead of it.
the following week.
That I don't understand. Weather. Come on.
We're already in, we're only 3 weeks from another meeting.
Too far.
But we can also back pay. We can date it.
I gotta agree. I would agree to that.
I mean, we can date it effective January 1 and back, and they can get a back payment on their pay. Provided we find a way to pay for it. I mean, I think we can, we just gotta make sure. So we can make it retroactive to January 1st. If that makes you feel better about it, Jim.
No, it doesn't have to be January 1st. It'd be at the date of the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that's no big deal making that retroactive.
it'd be nice
Connie
to,
loves trying to figure stuff backwards in time.
be nice if you could figure out what other people are making for us. I know it's probably might be impossible, but it'd be nice to know
I can call other counties and say, what are you getting paid? Without having the actual fancy spreadsheet.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we've lost anybody to Greene County. I just can't see very many going up that direction. That's Orange and Lawrence and Davis is our, maybe Pike.
We lost one to Pike. No, Gibson.
Yeah, but he was from there. So I mean, he went home. So there's a little difference there. Now, these guys are hiring on, I'm assuming there's a contract they signed.
We had done one previously at one point. But it's a double-edged sword. You don't want to hold somebody hostage over a couple $100, because the amount of money you can recoup from them is minute. It's very little. You get a little bit of supplies money out of ammo, little bit of money, but not very much at all. And then it prorates over 3 years. But then you're holding it over somebody's head that if they don't want to be here, you don't want to be here.
And that's true in everything. I mean,
You don't
every
want
job.
negative attitude in the community.
Okay.
Would it,
So we are going to table it to the executive section.
set up a meeting with the
You
commissioners?
okay with that?
Is that on?
I'm just happy people sit down and talk.
Well,
Is Paul on there?
No,
Paul's in a different
he's
meeting.
Okay,
I don't think he'd be on.
okay.
Yeah.
is there any time that would be
Jason's meeting.
bad for you that you couldn't do it?
No, it's 24/7, man. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I know, but does he have all these other meetings that's go to?
This could be, I mean, minus the judge needs something downstairs,
I had kids to go into the change.
this would be a priority.
We'll let Michelle do the heavy
And
lifting,
coordinate,
getting
yeah.
all of us together.
If you'll include the sheriff in that executive session, you know, that'd be great.
Could we come up with a dollar figure for the deputy that wants a, you know, a K-9 deputy line?
Yeah.
Where they actually see, hey, if I sign up for this,
We do a lot of specialty stuff, like there's guys that take care of evidence, we got deputies that do the sex offender registry, the state dumps that on the sheriff. And so, and that's a huge task. So if you wanna do a special incentive pay for K-9, you about gotta do something for some of those other ones.
Can you give us an idea on an email, Josh, of
well, this
how many
is,
brackets that is and what, and the load of each one?
this is the only one where you're babysitting something 24 hours a day. Which is, I would think you could still explain to the other people, hey, you're doing this while you're here. But when you sign up to babysit a dog, you're tied up.
So a dog is definitely different.
And so.
For the guy that's gotta manage 30 violent sex offenders and still take his regular calls and do his normal work. That's a big load on a guy.
But it's not the same as
You know, it's definitely not the same.
a dog
Doesn't go wrong.
scratching at the door at 2 o'clock in the morning because he didn't like what he ate that day.
Could you put him in at like a corporal rate instead of a deputy rate for the K-9 program?
Well, I mean, it would have to be a K-9 wage because it might be the major that ends up with the K-9.
And that's what it is right now.
And so
It'd almost be like a separate.
So you're thinking salary plus?
I'm thinking you've got the deputy wage and you've got a K-9 handler wage that goes,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
follow whatever position you get moved to.
So we'll
So,
have 4 or 5 K.
well,
Okay, so
I think we'd have to limit it,
Yeah.
but, you know,
I agree, but
a couple of them, but then when you actually see that number, cause you tell somebody a half hour extra time a week, that don't mean too much to them. But if you tell them, hey, you're getting $7,000 if you want to sign up for this program, you're getting this every year.
And there is a fine line, you don't want somebody doing it for the money either. But they definitely,
well, yeah, that'd be up to you to pick that K-9 anyway. I mean, you're not going to just throw that at one individual just because they said, yeah, I wanna do it. I mean, you get that all the time, I know you do. But,
and it's probably not gonna be a new hire that we don't know if we're gonna stay here for a year, because we don't wanna do all that training and have them walk away. So that would be back to your side of management on who you pick for it, but I just think if they knew there was a number there that they seen the big picture, maybe they would be a little more inclined to sign up for it. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there to see if we can come up with a way to get some interest in it, because they do a lot of work.
Yeah, I would think you do a lump sum and not like a half hour a day. I mean, like
No.
you said, $5,000 or $7,000 a year.
I think that
Instead of a
half hour
half-hour
a day
day.
is kind of an insult, but.
it just has to be above that half, minimum, it has to be the half hour a day. If you're gonna pay them, there's federal law, says it has to be that half hour a day.
Yeah, I
Or
understand.
more.
I understand
As
that.
long as we don't go below that.
Well, I mean, anything above 5,000, anything above, I think 4,500 was above everybody's wage.
I make a motion, we table the sheriff's deputy wage increase till after we have an executive session.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
No,
Unanimous. Anything else for us?
Off the top of my head, what
The
you guys
salary and
got?
wage, got
Oh,
that
yeah.
coming up, but
If you guys wanna take care of that while I'm up here.
You're here, Reese, unless you want to.
the maintenance position, I found a good quality person that said he would come. The maximum dollar amount that's on, listed on there. It's, I think $25, which is cheap compared to any other, I mean, if you're calling in any services, $75 an hour is about as cheap as you're gonna get. But I don't remember what was on there last year, maybe $15 an hour.
Yeah, it was up to 15 because it was blank, so that's what we done this year, missing the,
We weren't, we didn't have the application.
We didn't leave it blank in the budget though, did we?
no.
No, there's money in the budget for it, but I think what happened was the jail officer line item on there absorbed what was supposed to be in the maintenance one. I don't know. They got deleted or tabbed up or.
So you want a range?
15 to 25.
And then-
we had put on the paperwork
The,
last year.
can you give us a brief job description of the maintenance position? Is he doing the lawn mowing, the weed spraying?
This is more of making sure the HVACs are good to go, plumbing, the sidewalk, there's sidewalks that need new concrete. Any issues with the building and the grounds, he would coordinate or do himself repairs.
So he does do your mowing.
Inmates do the mowing.
Is he fill the janitor position here?
No, I have a part-time position, which I'll talk about later.
And my guy, he can only do part-time because he just retired from the federal government. He can only make so much per year. And I just about max him out with what's in my budget.
So can he do electrical
Yes.
and HVAC stuff or just
Yeah,
maintenance?
so he did big maintenance stuff at Crane. In the last several years, he's been doing the core service of buildings, electrical, plumbing, like all over southern Indiana. He worked out of the Blooming or the Bedford office.
He's probably certified too.
Hmm.
He's probably also certified.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the feds have him certified and all kinds of stuff. And he's, I mean, not afraid to get in there with inmates and work with inmates or be around them. There's no safety concerns with them. Background check wise, there's no issues. He's a well-rounded person.
So are you just leaving it as a general, or does he have a job description?
So I'm working on his job description. It's on my keyboard right now.
Okay,
I hope to have it finished up tomorrow to get to HR.
yeah, cause that's key. To
Didn't
me,
you
that's key.
have a maintenance guy there before with a job description? I mean,
There was a maintenance guy there, but Amy can't find, nobody seems to know the job description.
oh,
So I think when job descriptions were done several years ago, that the position didn't exist.
okay.
And then it came up back to that.
And if you raise him to 25 an hour, is that gonna throw him over money wise?
He's part-time.
I know, but
No, because
you say he's got him maxed out right now on money.
no, the budget just about matches. The amount of money that you guys approved for that position almost maxes out. Like if there's 20,000 in the budget, he can only make 23,000 until he starts getting penalized with his
Right.
retirement stuff.
Right. By not putting him at $25 an hour instead of 20, is that gonna throw him over?
He's worked less hours for him, right?
Yeah, you'd have to do less hours.
Any other questions about that?
What's your estimated hourly time at what he's gonna do?
So
3 to 5 a day or 2 a day?
it's gonna vary. Like if we're shutting down the water in that jail and doing plumbing, he might work 12 hours that day. We're not, I mean, you've been in there and done plumbing in it.
Yeah.
It takes a minute to shut the water off and get everything drained out. So, he may only get to work 2 days that week, before he hits his maximum part-time hours.
I don't see how all that copper hasn't blowed loose anyway. I mean,
We're blowing 2.5 inch pipes now.
Yeah.
Did 3 in this week, or past week.
Yeah. It's thin as paper, you know. That's the thing with it.
But we're getting ready to start on replacing all that.
But he's doing that stuff too.
He will be.
You're not replacing with copper, are you?
The proper type.
K-copper.
We're not using residential copper. Yeah. That was put in originally.
Oh, I know. Crawled in those holes many times.
That's a long time though.
How many years is it now? 20? No, it's longer than that, isn't it?
92.
More like 30.
Yeah, it's 92, so it'll be 30, 32 years, 33 years.
33 years.
And they're replacing it with copper, did you say?
Yes.
The right kind.
Yeah, the proper thickness.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty good stockpile of supplies built up to be able to do it. From the money the commissioners gave last year, that's for the smaller pipes, the bigger stuff.
Do we get three? Individually, do we got?
Yeah.
We'll do it all together.
Yeah.
If you could.
I'll make that motion.
We'll do it all together. on
Okay.
that. Unless somebody, I mean, if somebody had something else for him about it, but we'll do the whole latest thing together.
Good fun.
Is that all? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
The rate reallocation.
Yeah, I'll pass this around. I just now printed it, just so you can see what the lit rate currently is. I don't know that, probably most of them haven't probably even seen that. This is local income taxes. So right now we have, 0.80% in certified shares, 0.25% in public safety, economic development, 1.20%, and then property tax relief, 0.25%. So this was passed in 2020, last time it's changed. Last year, the former council, discussed changing, reallocating, lit rates, taking some from the economic development, which is the highest, take 0.20% from that, and reallocating to a new EMS tax. The state within the last couple of years recently added. So not raising the rate at this time, but just reallocating. So I reached out to Dave Lett to find out the process of how to do that, and he's wrote a letter that's in your packet somewhere. He says the local government finances devise a process that must be followed to enact any change. The council must adopt an ordinance to enact the change. If the council follows the process and adopts such an ordinance before September 1st, 25, the ordinance will take effect October 1st, 25. I must recommend that if the council were going to do this, it should be done far in advance of September 1st in order for the auditor and the state to facilitate the changes properly. The council should submit a draft of the proposed ordinance changing the lit rate to the GLGF for review. It is my understanding that the GLGF will respond in 30 days. And also FSG said they wanted to be involved in the process last year when the council talked to them, just to make sure everything was in place, because if something's wrong in that draft, then the time limit starts over. Back to the letter, there must be a public hearing conducted after legal advertising. The last time the county changed the tax rates, we conducted a public hearing at Shoals High School. Following the conclusion of the public hearing, the council convened in a formal meeting and voted on the proposal. Both meetings were advertised. The council cannot change the proposed rate at its formal meeting. It may only vote upon the advertised rate change. Any new change must be re-advertised and another public meeting must be conducted. This is one of the reasons I recommend this must be done. It should be started fairly soon. So.
And what this does, it takes a pie and cuts off a sliver that no longer gets shared with Lagodi, Shoal, Crane. but goes into the ambulance fund.
Yeah, it takes them from the county too, and that funds Fund 1112 on the first page of this cash balances sheet. So it will
Yeah.
take, was it 350 from the county? Like, sorry, it's been too long since.
I don't remember the number. Yeah,
um,
we get hit the hardest, but we're currently paying ambulance out of that fund also.
Yeah, we do have to give notice to Shoals, Lagodi, and Crane by August 1st. So that's why we've kind of failed at least the last year, it was past that deadline. That's why I'm bringing it back so we can get it started earlier and.
What do you want the completion date to be?
Maybe late spring would be fine. I mean, we have a few months. I just need to put it to your attention, and Dave needs to probably for next step would adopt the ordinance, so that'd probably be the next meeting. And then we'd have to advertise the public.
The towns have to have their budget in too, but,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice for them to know if they're not putting it in the kind of thing.
Yeah, we start budgets like, July 1st. So-
For each town, it was,
I think
180.
Lagodi was 88
and
and Shoals was
30.
like 85 and Crane was like 35. It wasn't a lot.
8,500.
yeah,
Mhm.
Crane was, or Lagodi was a decent chunk.
Yeah.
Shelley's wasn't that much.
they were not really carving that much.
I mean, that's basically the only new money we're getting is what we take from those. It's kind of their help on the ambulance service, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not costing the taxpayer any more money.
no,
We're just reallocating the money. It's already in the pie to another piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Lagodi does lose, Shoals will lose, Crane will lose a little bit out of their budget, but we're not going to them and saying, here's a bill for the ambulance service.
Yeah.
This is just them paying part of their share.
Share, I don't, however you want to word it.
yeah.
I mean, we just,
Yeah.
somewhere the ambulance is bleeding. I mean, it's no, the numbers, you guys all seen the numbers. I mean, it's not. Somewhere we gotta find some money to help that situation. And this is a place that last year, we found that we could do, so.
What was the point we were going to? Or talking about?
0.20.
0.20 for EMS and taking down the edit to
Okay,
1.0%.
I see that.
You didn't like it before.
Yeah, you voted nay.
That was new tax.
Yeah,
This was an ugly.
Were you on that?
This is an ugly meeting, I bet.
Oh, yeah, I
People
was there.
calling me.
Oh,
said
God, I was
go
too.
up to This
It
amount,
was
going
ugly.
into the meeting and they jumped above.
Tell everybody, I get slapped in
And
the
again,
face
it
all
was
the time.
probably the
with that
right
tax,
thing,
I'll
but
tell you.
the taxpayer was after me. I told him I would
At least
anything
once a month.
above
It was
that.
bad.
That's what it was about.
So we're not raising.
I understand that though.
Yeah, this is just moving it.
That's your cost for living in Martin County, I guess. I don't know.
So I think what we would need was a motion to proceed if we're interested in doing it, and then let Dave work on the.
Well, we gotta pay for them somehow, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I think you voted, right? Yeah.
Okay, it's good that we all agree on something. We all get equal.
Yeah, those kind of things,
Sure.
it's nice.
Well, it's not costing anybody nothing. It's costing the town, to go to Jones and Crane. It's sending the bill, they're really not argue.
Yeah.
I know, it really is. Those.
The council appointments.
That's the wrong sheet.
I'd like to stay on the current ones that I'm on now. If anybody has any directions? Okay. Move to the SIDC and the redevelopment commission. Adam left the alliance. What-
When's the Alliance meetings? I don't know when that is.
I don't want to say they meet monthly. And it's usually in the evenings. But I can't. Can't tell you when.
I could probably do that one.
Yeah, I could do that one too, if it's in the evenings.
I'm on the Samaritan board.
Yeah, that's why I have you in red, just the
I'm probably
red.
gonna be a patient there one day.
Nothing like setting goals, sure.
That's right, that's right. I might as well get ready.
The red are people that I know that express interest to stay at that spot, so.
I'll stay at solid waste.
Okay.
I'll stay on redevelopment.
And you'll go to the corrections.
You can pick that one up. You can, Danielle did say you can appoint if you,
They're still meeting once a month, right? I think.
Community corrections was more like once a quarter,
They went to once a quarter. They was
like
month.
8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I should be able to do that.
And you're on the economic development,
The RDC.
right? Again,
Well, no, the economic development in the 22 years I've been here, they had one meeting when I was on vacation in the smoking.
so you'll go on to the
It's
community
something that is
corrections.
supposed to be there, but it's not.
hmm,
Nobody, it was something to do with one of the gypsum plants and that board had to meet. And that's the only time it's done anything.
So you're gonna do the community corrections then?
Yeah.
If Jim wants to do the alliance, that's fine. I'll let him.
You guys can wrestle. It don't make no difference.
I say, I'll let you.
I'm gonna fight you for it.
No, I'm not gonna fight over it. You can have it.
It is one that's pretty important to be at.
yeah, since you have a business, I would think,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
yeah, be good to sit on that.
The alcohol beverage board, they only meet as needed, don't they?
Yeah.
I never talked to
Every
Kenny.
month. They meet here.
Alcohol beverage
The
does.
ABC board meets here. on
Is
a
Kenny
Thursday.
Edmond, does he come?
There's 3 of them, I think.
I was gonna say, cause he's been on there as long as I've ever known.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna say they meet every month, but they meet fairly often, and one of the big problems is we have them on the calendar, but then like somebody else can take precedence. You know, if we have a jury trial or this or that, so
Well, they could find somewhere else to meet. That's not that big a
we have to
deal.
scramble sometimes.
I've met in the hallway, I think.
So they don't meet every month, but they do meet fairly often.
SIDC's got that.
Mhm.
Lonnie
nice
used to be on it.
Who?
Lonnie used to be on it, base 91.
The commissioners appoint somebody too.
Mm-hmm.
We appoint
Bill
somebody.
Shaw, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Bill Shaw's on there.
Yeah.
I heard him say last night.
He shows up too, I think so.
I never talked to Kenny. I seen him in town today and slipped my mind. But,
Commissioners last night went with, reappoint, and then if they hear differently, they can
yeah.
change it.
Do you know I know that the park board's 4-year term, do you know is anybody due on term?
No, I don't believe so. It says Donna Hawkins was year 1 in 2022, and then,
But she was on there in 2020 and 21 too.
Yeah, but she was reappointed, so.
yeah, I didn't type that in.
So
Bobby
that's
would have had
probably
to
her
do it.
first year back on it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would've been
reappointment.
2022.
Denise Graney was 2023. Was her first year.
Yeah.
What's the PTABOA?
Peterborough Board.
Property tax
Property
assessment
tax.
board. So if you go complain about your taxes to Carolyn, they'll set up a meeting and you go to that board and they pay you,
So we just gotta leave Denise Craney and Donna Hawkins on.
They're not done with their term, so it'll be next year for Donna Hawkins and the following year for Denise Crane.
Okay,
um,
that takes care of them all, don't it?
Crystal's still.
Library.
Yeah, Rody's good. Yeah, Linda Sharfik. She went, I got a paper to have her reappointed.
Jonathan's still good.
Yeah.
He's got the 27 unless he changes his mind.
I think if Linda Sharpick wants to do it, we need to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has anybody had contact with her? Has she said nay or?
No, library sent me the form, so yeah, they must have asked her.
We don't want to shove somebody in the middle of something they don't want in.
we have a motion to approve all of them.
I didn't write down what Jim took. What did you take? Alliance?
Lions, yeah. And we're gonna leave Kenny on the alcohol until we hear different.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion and we accept every one of these. Do we have to name them all off?
Well,
We accept all the board appointments.
No, I'll note them in the minutes, but yeah, you went over them in the meeting, so.
I make the motion.
We have a second.
Gerald, did you wanna come to the SIDC meetings with me? They feed you good.
Okay.
Come on, we meet every quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can kind of get an idea of what they're doing.
Right.
Cause I think that the commissioners appoint all the positions.
Jordan, is there anything you wanna do? Sound like you have a full-time job the way it is.
And
I do.
maybe-
So as far as, meeting times and not which ones would, I'd be even available for,
Yeah.
it would not be the first thing to review,
Just
Yeah.
play it by ear this year.
I know the redevelopment commission, we're gonna start meeting here this month. And I think we're gonna be on Zoom, so you'll be able to watch those meetings.
But it's at noon.
But it's at noon, but you can go back and watch them to see what we do, what we talk about. 'Cause it's interesting.
Yeah, I do like those meetings.
And all of you can, I mean. And you're welcome to come because we feed you lunch too.
We have a second, you second. Yeah. All in favor?
Okay, salary and wage ordinance amendments. Sorry, I have to bring you back amendments. Thankful for Teresa. We worked hard again on this, so appreciate her. First courthouse part-time custodian again. There was a employee already in the courthouse whose husband had a couple weeks free from his other job that he could fill in for 2 weeks. So he's came in and worked yesterday and today part-time just to kind of help with the cleaning and done some maintenance things. So asking to be able to pay him 13 to 17 an hour to fill in. And that would come out of the salary of the custodian that's already, the full-time custodian line that's already been appropriated. So that wouldn't be any additional money.
And that's not currently filled, correct?
No.
So,
I think the commissioners have to prove it, who gets paid, right?
Yep.
So. I think that has to go to them on that, but.
Okay.
I mean, I
we
think
can
they
approve
need
the
paid,
range.
but I think Well,
We're
that's,
changing, yeah, the part-time position, yeah. So yeah, if you approve the wage, then I can take
yeah,
the part-time to them.
And the court reporters we talked about with the judge, correct?
Yeah, this is changing the wording. I missed it on the last salary and wage. It still said L3, L4. She wanted it just for clarification purposes. Court reporter 1, court reporter 2. So that was the only change. Just changing those titles. So then taking the wage away from those other two and putting them on the correct line. So it's just a naming thing on that. Emergency management, emergency run compensation. That's kind of always been paid, but it's not been on the salary and wage ordinance. Teresa and I kind of went back and forth whether it should be on here. It's not really.
We do have some employees that currently work for us, and when they do those, then we have to pay them through payroll. And since we're paying it through payroll, we wondered if we should put it on there. Cause it is running through payroll, not just an AP. And all the other payroll
So all the rest of them
on
get
the
the,
salary wage.
the ones that currently don't work for you, they just get a 1099.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
That's it.
Yeah, the ones that currently don't work for us get a 1099.
If they go, yeah, if they go over the limit, they'll get one.
Mm-hmm.
Under 600 doesn't get
but
one.
the employees, you have to pay
Through payroll.
taxes and everything.
Yeah, through payroll. So we thought they should
I would
probably
say
be
it makes it,
a line on there since it, you know, if they would pull our payroll records, I've got somebody I paid, not on the salary and wage.
Yeah.
The money's there, just when you were including it there before.
Cause I think, yeah, we were paying them all 1099. Then we found out last year that, you know, people that we were on the payroll should have been paid through payroll. So it's kind of a
Hard.
kind of new thing we just found into last year. Jail sheriff, talked about, that I'd left those rates off that he talked about during the budget meetings. And Edit County Sheriff, Jeremy can talk about any specifics, but he brought to the commissioners at the December meeting, taking the EMT basic position, eliminating that and transferring that person to administrative assistant.
So that's just a transfer, no change in.
Yeah, no extra money asking of, just moving that basic salary to administrative assistant.
So is that gonna short you on staff?
What's that?
Is that gonna short you on?
No, she's a part-time, she's a full-time driver right now, but she's gonna continue to do the driving duties as well. Just changing the name on the line item, really.
Okay.
So it's making her from part-time to full-time then?
No, she's already full-time.
Okay.
County user fee, this was a naming also. Teresa pointed out to me in the budget, we have it in the budget as a claims clerk. But on the salary and wage, I had claims clerk 1, claims clerk 2. But there's actually, I think, 4 people that get paid out of this fund, for doing various duties for its prosecutor's office. So just to clarify that and match the budget, I combined those 2 lines just to a claims clerk. Ambulance service, holiday pay. We hadn't had this on the past salary and wage ordinances either, but Teresa and I kind of went back and forth on it, and we thought it'd just be safer just to have that on there, to match what was in the budget already.
You have the ambulance services, the holiday pay. Does your officers get holiday pay?
Well, on a holiday, they get another vacation day. So it goes into the vacation bank.
Comp time, yeah.
There's no extra pay.
But ambulance gets overtime and sheriff doesn't get overtime.
Seems quite right.
And not everybody has the same holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Some have more, some have less.
It's not a set number of holidays that county or the
rest of
ambulance
county is. They
don't always
kinda do
match.
theirs differently.
I'm sorry,
They do theirs a little bit differently, how they're set up, but, cause they're a 24/7.
They both are.
I said they do them a little differently. They don't even do theirs the same.
Yeah, ambulance is different, yeah, that's,
When if there's a magical pot of money, a lot of people love to have overtime. But we need people. At the end of the year, don't you guys, if you pay out comp time, then it's basically paying the overtime for the last.
Yeah, I don't want them to build it up though, we try.
If we
you
have
don't
plans
pay out
to
comp time, do
eliminate
you?
it as soon as possible.
yeah.
Did they quit or something?
They
But
try,
there is a payout.
they
try
try
to
not
use
to
it.
pay it out. Them and the highway both, if they can.
Keep it doing more, so. be patient.
Project income yearly. This was well, partially a naming error. Last, salary and wage ordinance I brought to you, it said case manager two, with a salary of 1924 to 2546. So Danielle pointed out that should be, that's really the case manager. So I had it named wrong, but then she also said she did need a second case manager two in there with a lower rate. So that's in her budget. I just didn't have it correctly stated on the salary and wage.
So no change to her budget.
No change to the budget. It's just, this is reflecting what to match the budget. And then 9137, another community corrections state-based grant, part-time clerical, that was also in the budget. That got left off the salary and wage. So I apologize, I did. Thought I went over this, but yeah, I missed several things.
You've got to take your people and.
Yeah, it's like 3 people.
It's hard to make sure you got them if you want them. I mean,
3 people paid out of 3 different funds, you know, each paid out of 3 different funds, so. It's,
yeah, same person sometimes paid out 3 different.
Yeah.
Same pay.
You're gonna miss a few here and there.
so on the second page there, we did make some changes. I forgot to, employees who choose health insurance are responsible for 20% of the health insurance premium. But I added in, if the employee chooses to participate in wellness, the employee's premium responsibility is reduced to 10%. So that was new this year, to have the wellness carve out. The county's elected to cover 50% of vision premiums, and the county's elected to cover 50% of the dental core plan premium. If the employee elects the dental buyout plan, the employee premium is less 50% of the cost of the core plan. So the county's covering the amount of the core plan would have been, if they take out the premium. So I added those changes.
Did that read for the employee? The 50% is for the employee only, right?
Well, we were under the understanding that it's for every,
The way they did
every
it was
plan.
for all of them, and they talked about it that day that they brought in the sign-up sheets.
Okay.
And, Paul's agreement, so,
Okay.
or that's the last I had, so.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to come next meeting with additional appropriations for that expense for the, you know, the cost of the dental and vision, the 50% of that, because we didn't budget for that.
Any questions about?
This system is not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large scale fires